moped going to work, and out of nowhere, a vehicle hit me, and I was knocked unconscious, and I woke up in the hospital.
How is everyone doing?
Took care of us. Roger.
Mute that real quick. Okay, so I have all of the different streams pulled up, so whoever starts to stream the live feed first, I will click on them so that we can get everything that's going on, so that you guys know. I'm live a couple minutes early. I just realized I clicked the button 2 minutes early. So as far as what the family is telling me, they are still on the scene. FBI and the tents are still set up. They're still looking into everything. Still digging up the property. The one news... Yes, they were arrested. Let me pull up my display capture here, and I will show you guys the pictures. My almost 3-year-old is still awake. Obviously, it's 8 p.m., so she's probably going to be talking. Say hi.
Hi.
So, yes, they were arrested. They are being charged with second-degree murder. Both of them. Sonny was arrested at home. Lehua was arrested at their residence. Police fired flashbangs and then went in. So let me pull up the information just so you guys can see that. Those of you who don't know everything that's happened today. Okay. So this is their mugshots after their arrest. People who were on the scene said that Lehua left the residence in tears. It is the first time that we would have seen emotion from her, if that's the case. She has never shed a tear for Ariel this entire time. So police fired flashbangs, and then they charged the scene of the home. Again, I have all of the news stations pulled up so that as soon as they go live with this, we can automatically see what's happening. So we're just kind of on standby waiting. We heard 3 p.m. for the press conference, Hawaii time. That's in about 15 minutes. I did go live a couple minutes early. So let me pull up some of the stuff going on. Sorry, let me get the group up because a lot of the video feeds and stuff are already in the group. And if you haven't seen my Kalua's Facebook page, he has also posted a good deal of information today. He was the first one to get a photograph of the scene, and he shared that with me so that I was able to share it with you guys. Yeah, the whole situation makes me angry as well. It's unbelievable. And somebody pointed out to me the fact that Lehua has told people, oh, well, she used to sleep in the yard. And now they're digging up the yard looking for her. Like, that's disgusting. She was basically telling us where she was this whole time by saying that she likes to sleep in the yard. Second-degree murder. I don't know how many of you know exactly what that constitutes, but second-degree murder means... Okay, Honolulu Police Department. I will pull them up as well. I do have the news stations. Like I said, they're all set up, but I will pull them up as well because whoever goes live first, that's who we're going to watch. This family is still on the scene. So guys, keep them in prayer as everything is going on, of course. Just their complete distancing from this case the entire time, the adoptive family, it's been so upsetting. And now we see the adoptive uncle, his girlfriend is on Instagram, like spinning out again. It's disturbing, and I'm waiting to find out exactly how long Ariel has been missing, because she is the one who said that she was last seen in mid-August. So if she was missing before mid-August, I think that will show that she was also involved perhaps in the cover-up of this, and that other people could be involved. To me, they should be charged with first-degree murder. Gabby, I was wondering about that, because I know, like, the Gannon Stout case in Colorado, because he was under the age of 12, they were able to charge with first-degree murder for Letitia Stout. So I'm wondering, does Hawaii not have a law like that? Do they not have the, person in custody law where whoever the person who is their caregiver, if they murder them, it's not first degree in Hawaii? I don't understand that. Beautiful girl, there needs to be answers, some huge answers. Yes, okay, so BioFamily still has a huge battle ahead of them. They intend to make sure these laws get changed. They want to get custody of the other children still. They still have a lot of battling to do, and they want to get the adoption overturned so that her headstone doesn't say Isabella Kalua. We don't want her death records, if she is no longer with us, to say her adoptive name. We want it to say Ariel Sellers. Where can we find the Mugshots image? Let me pull it up for you. This is on a KHON article. So let me share screen. I guess that would help. So this is on a KHON article. Somebody screenshot it and posted it to the group. That is Lehua Kalua on the left and Isaac Kalua on the right, courtesy of the Honolulu Police Department. Somebody else has also posted their records. Still not seeing live streams from anyone. Gonna keep checking to make sure that we don't miss them starting. It should be within the next 10 minutes or so here. Yes, return the 3 bio babies back to the family ASAP. I agree. It needs to happen. They should have never been in the custody of these people to begin with. Court got rescheduled to February 9th of 2022. I really hope and pray that they do not make these children stay in foster care with random individuals until that date. I hope that we can get things moving with this lawyer. This family still needs funds. They still need you guys to donate to the Gofundme so that they can get this lawyer and fight these battles against CPS. CPS needs to pay for what was done, just as much as Isaac and Lehua need to. They are just as responsible as far as I am concerned. Return the hostages. Yes, Shannon. I agree. Return the hostages. And they are still digging up the yard. And it's really sad because October 10th, somebody flew a drone over that property over a month ago and said, hey, you guys need to check this area because they have disturbed ground right here. And it looks as if somebody was digging. And they kept saying that over and over again. And they called the tip in. They've been calling the police with the tip. And I know that the police have to gather evidence before they go in and search. But, this could have been solved over a month ago if they would have just looked into it a little bit harder. These pictures of this disturbed ground was posted a long time ago. Let me find. People are messaging me. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I gotta look at everything because I don't want to miss anything popping up for sure. Okay, here is the press conference stream. I just found it. Let's see what they have to say. They are not going yet. Let me pull it up here. This makes me so angry. They should have given bio mom and dad the SVCs they needed to help keep their babies. Yeah, the services. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know exactly what drug programs they put her through. I'm not sure exactly. But there was other options. You know, they had plenty of family members that were never reached out to. They had no idea. You know, Julie, the biological grandmother on the father's side, had no knowledge that these children were in custody. Could you imagine, you know, seeing a little girl on the news missing and realizing that that's your granddaughter and they have her going by a different name? Could you imagine how, you know, heartbreaking that moment would be? Looking at the picture going, no, that's my grandbaby. Why are they calling her Isabella? It's disturbing. And nobody reached out to her. And part of the problem was her son Adam was in jail at the time. They hadn't spoke for over a year before that because you know how family disputes happen. So whenever the kids went into custody, they weren't talking. So nobody reached out. And it's really upsetting. She lived on a whole different island. And, you know, there are other family members also, other aunties that could have adopted these children that were never reached out to. Yeah, I would be horrified too, Beverly. Absolutely. So once they go live, it will be right here now. I got it pulled up for you guys so that we can watch it. Let me make this large. Sorry, I'm just trying to check my messages as stuff is coming in as well. People are asking for the live stream link. Okay, hold on one second. I will send that to you. Let me pull it up. Sorry. I wonder, does that... Yeah, okay. So you guys follow whatever it is that I'm pulling up then. I don't know why that's going white like that. Yes, seriously would sue them all. Exactly. They all need sued. Every single person needs held accountable, from the people at the top of CPS all the way down to the bottom. You know, we have supervisors commenting on the page. We have the caseworker commenting on the YouTube videos. It's all been disgusting. You know, it should have never been allowed. But not only that, they put these children into a home with a record just because, just for funsies. You know, she didn't even look into that. Family is supposed to be served first, catch me if you can. That's what they are supposed to be. However, these workers did not follow protocol. They just didn't. And I mean, we can ask them why, but will they ever answer? Probably not. Yeah, the Facebook page is exploding ever since everything happened, which is good. You know, I just hope that everybody still continues to stand behind this baby, because they are going to need you guys to show up at the vigils, show up at the CPS rallies, show up for everything still. You know, even if she's found right now, we know that she is probably no longer with us because of their second-degree murder charges. So we know that she is probably no longer with us. And this is just about making sure she gets justice still. So all of you locals, you know, whenever they hold rallies or prayer vigils, please still go, because we still need this pressure on CPS. These other 3 children are still in state custody. And we don't want them to get offered to this Kalua family instead of to biological family. That's the last thing that we want. Give me 1 second to pull this up. Just send this message real quick. I appreciate everyone who has come along for this ride with this family. You know, it's been an emotional roller coaster for them every step of this way. What's the Gofundme at now? Let me check. Last I looked at it, it was still only at $2,800. So let me go look. You know, and they need $10,000 for this lawyer to even start the retainer for them. And that's just the beginning of the battle. So we are at $2,862 currently. And this is what's been raised over the last 2 months. You know, whoops, I went way too close. So, and they put a $70,000 goal just because they're not sure how much this battle is going to cost. And the idea behind it was anything that was raised that wasn't used for lawyers, that they don't need for lawyers, they were going to use for a private investigator if the investigation was still going, or they were going to donate it to the reward fund, whatever was left from that. Now I've talked to them, and anything that they don't use towards the cost of getting these children, they do intend to donate towards a fund in Ariel's name. So regardless of what ends up happening with these lawyers, the money is going to go to a good place, either to get these children or to help out a charity in her name. Okay, they are live. Audio.
As a reminder, this is still an active investigation. I'd like to thank those in the community and the media who were patient with this investigation, who were what began as a search for a missing girl turned into a murder investigation focused on the Kaluas. While we are unable to discuss the details at this time, we believe that the evidence leads to the Kaluas and no one else. As a reminder, this is still an active investigation. I'd like to thank those in the community and the media who were patient with this investigation, who were cooperative with investigators, and who continue to seek the truth and justice for Ariel. At this time, I'd like to introduce the special agent in charge of the FBI's Honolulu Field Office, Stephen Merrill. He will be followed by Major Ben Moskowitz and Lieutenant Dina Themis of the Criminal Investigation Division.
Thank you, Acting Chief. I just wanted to thank the Honolulu Police Department for their partnership. The FBI remains steadfast in our effort to work with law enforcement agencies across this area to make sure that justice is done. And again, I thank the Honolulu Police Department for welcoming us into this investigation. Any questions to the investigation should be put forth to the Honolulu Police Department. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Moskowitz. I'm the commander of the Honolulu Police Department Criminal Investigation Division. And before I get to the rest of our announcement, I do want to share a little background information. On Monday, September 13th, 2021, at around 6:25 in the morning, HPD call takers received a 911 call from the parents at 41610 Puha Street, notifying police that their 6-year-old adopted daughter, Isabella Kalua, was missing. According to initial reports, Ariel was last seen the previous evening, Sunday, September 12th, around 9:00 p.m. when her parents put her to bed. In response to the call, HPD classified the case as a missing person and immediately mobilized a search of the area. For the next 8 days, an intensive search involving over 200 HPD personnel and between 300 and 500 community volunteers scoured the Waimanalo area each day looking for Ariel. And even after initial search of the area was complete, for the last 58 days since this was reported, dedicated community members have continued the search for Ariel. I would like to remind you that our investigation into this incident is still extremely active and is far from over. However, especially after remaining quiet about what we have learned over the last 58 days, we feel it's important to share with you what we can at this time. This morning, shortly after 7:00 a.m., members of the Honolulu Police Department's Specialized Services Division simultaneously served search warrants at Ariel's home, again at 41610 Puha Street, as well as the Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, where Isaac, the father, works, to search the home and vehicles of Lehua and Isaac Kalua. Specifically, investigators and crime scene technicians are on scene still, and will probably be there through tomorrow, searching for evidence related to Ariel's murder. Based on the investigation conducted by the homicide detail, we believe that Ariel was murdered sometime in the middle of August 2021 by her adopted parents, Lehua and Isaac Kalua. And it's worth noting this time element is a full month before Ariel was reported to the police as a missing person. The cause of Ariel's death is still under investigation and will not be discussed today. Ariel's remains have not yet been recovered. We know that there are members of the community who have cared for and who continue to care for the well-being of Ariel and her sisters. And we're looking for witnesses who know or may have interacted with Ariel and her sisters between 2019 and August of 2021 to come forward. Also, anyone who may have seen Lehua or Isaac Kalua during August or September of this year was encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers at area code 808-955-8300. You can also dial *crime on your mobile device. You can visit www.honolulucrimestoppers.org, or you can download the P3 Tips application to your mobile device in order to submit information anonymously. You may have important information that could help us to locate Ariel, and it's important to remember that no detail at this point is too small. I would like to introduce Lieutenant Dina Themis. Lieutenant Themis is in charge of our homicide detail and would like to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. At the onset of this investigation, many people assisted us in the search for Ariel. I wanted to again thank the public, the state and city departments, the military, the FBI, and members of the Honolulu Police Department for assisting us with the search. As our investigation continued, it was determined that foul play was involved. The initial information reported by Isaac and Lehua on September 13th was false. Detectives of the homicide detail includes the missing person unit, homicide detectives, cold case unit, and the strategic enforcement detail. They have followed up on every lead and every Crime Stopper tip that has come in. Oftentimes, these follow-ups resulted in us requesting assistance from the Honolulu Police Department Specialized Services Division, the Crime Analysis Unit, and the Crime Scene Unit. Multiple items of evidence were recovered and tested. Multiple people were interviewed, and those interviews were recorded and reviewed. And hours of surveillance was also recovered and reviewed. The homicide detectives continued this intensive 8-week-long investigation alongside the city deputy prosecuting attorneys from the Domestic Violence Division. Their support was instrumental in getting us where we are today. I want to let everyone know that despite the criticism reported by some of the media, we have never stopped our investigation. Ariel was never forgotten. During the recent weeks of the investigation leading to the arrest, we requested assistance from numerous divisions in our department, the FBI special agents of the Honolulu Division, who were liaisons for the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit located in Quantico, the FBI Evidence Recovery Team, Haima Urban Search and Rescue, and anthropologist Dr. Gregory Berg. I want to thank everyone for their assistance. The cooperative efforts was essential in this investigation. The investigation is ongoing. By no means is it over. Some of the information may not be released at this time because it may hurt the integrity of the investigation. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And finally this afternoon, to the hundreds of community members who came out to help us with the initial search, including members of the military, as well as our state, local, and federal law enforcement partners, I also want to say a huge thank you. I would especially like to recognize the support of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In just the past few weeks, the FBI has been able to offer the homicide detail technical expertise and evidentiary analysis that was extremely valuable and far exceeded our own department capabilities. In particular, the insight provided by FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit into the mindset of the suspects in this case was instrumental in helping us to advance the investigation to where it is today. I especially want to thank Special Agent in Charge Stephen Merrill of the Honolulu Field Office for his continued support and help. Again, this is very much still an active investigation, and there are some things that we simply cannot talk about. But I do remain hopeful that as time goes on and this case continues to progress, that we will be able to share more details with you in the future. So with that understanding, I guess we can take a couple questions. Ma'am.
You refer to her as Isabella Kalua, but also Ariel. Can you clarify what her legal name is and what police are considering her name to be?
Sure. We believe that child was born with the name Ariel Sellers, and when she was legally adopted by the Kaluas, then her name was changed legally to Isabella Kalua. But even after that, the family, members of the Kalua family, the extended family, and her siblings refer to as Ariel. So that's why we've kind of chosen to refer to as Ariel, just for simplicity's sake. Ma'am.
Are the Kaluas cooperating now that they're in custody?
So the way the judicial system works, because we have a warrant of arrest, and the judicial process has begun, there's significant intervention by the police department and the prosecutor's office as well. At this point, case law prevents us from trying to interview the suspects without an attorney being present. So procedurally, they've been taken to the station. They're going to remain there until their first appearance, which I guess would be probably sometime on Friday. But until they're appointed counsel, case law says we can't talk to them. But I have no reason to believe that they're not at least cooperating with the arrest. Ma'am?
Are you looking into possibly arresting other suspects who may have aided in, hiding the body or something?
So based on what we know at this point, we don't think that there are any other suspects that are outstanding that are not already in custody. That having been said, if there are members of the public who have information that implicates someone else, I'm not going to tell you we're not going to look into it. We're certainly going to take any information the public can provide us and chase, as Lieutenant Tamas said, we've chased every single lead that we've gotten as far as we can. So it's not beyond the scope of possibility that the investigation could lead to that, but at this point, we don't believe that there are any other suspects besides the Kaluas.
So you said other than, so other than the Kaluas.
Other than the Kaluas, we don't currently, based on what we know, think that there are any other suspects. Yes, ma'am.
Back in September, HPD talked about items that were recovered in Bellows. Was it ever determined if those items belonged to Isabella or what those items were?
Sorry, yeah, that's a Lieutenant Tamas question.
Sorry, so to answer your question, again, at the onset of the investigation, a lot of the information we were receiving was false. So we are following up on a lot of things and revisiting a lot of items that was recovered, and we are going to try to identify them, whether it be through our lab or whether it be through witnesses. So again, that's a little bit of a hiccup in our investigation because we were, initial reporting was false.
But you did find belongings, but.
We found items, but whether it belongs to Ariel hasn't been determined at this time.
There were some photos found. Did that reveal any questionable things, any other possible abuse or anything you could substantiate abuse?
The photo album that was found was determined to belong to the Kalua family, and there was nothing evidentiary value of that. Other than that, it did belong to them.
Is there enough evidence for a conviction if a body is never found?
That would be, I would have to defer that to the prosecutor's office at this time. There has been cases we've had with no body murder, arrest, and charges, so I'm not gonna be able to answer that right now. We believe at this time that we have enough to do the warrants of arrest. So I think we're heading in a good direction when it comes to trial and conviction.
At what point did you suspect that they were suspects?
I think at the onset there was a lot of questions, and I think I did give a release where I stated that we did suspect foul play, but there was a lot of things. I can't even give you the exact date when we decided that. I think at any case like this, we're gonna look at everything and question everything. So there were some things that just weren't adding up for us, and we just followed up with what we believed and whatever the evidence suggested to us.
I guess a question that many people have is, why now go into the property? And is there some digging going on the property? If you could talk about that. And why not do it sooner, right, within the first days, weeks?
So basically, every person has a right to their house. You can't just go in and start searching unless you have authorization. At some point in the initial investigation, the Kaluas were both pretty cooperative. And then eventually they weren't. So to give us permission to go on their property and start searching, that wasn't gonna happen. We couldn't get in touch with them, or they didn't call us back, or whatever it may be. Now, we need to get a search warrant to be able to do what we needed to do, go to the house like this morning, and that needed to be approved by the prosecutor's office as well as the judge. But again, we had a missing person, which was not a criminal case at that time, so we had to build our probable cause to get to that criminal case in order for us to do that, to get a search warrant for the premises, or any other search warrant.
And which specific evidence led you folks to today's search?
Okay, that I cannot discuss because that's under investigation.
Yeah. You could go ahead.
It's been reported that there's like an $11,000 reward. Has that reward been claimed?
Oh, you're good. So the information that's led us to develop the case to this point did not come from Crime Stoppers. So it's my understanding that Crime Stoppers' reward is still, it's still very substantial. And at this point, we want to, again, continue to encourage people, if they can help us to secure the conviction, that's still very much a reward that could be claimed by someone who has information that could be pivotal to the investigation.
Is that accurate, 11,000? It was 1,000 and plus the 10,000.
Yes, yeah, it's at least 11,000, yes, ma'am.
How was this mid-August timeframe determined?
Without going into too many details, the pattern of activity that we're able to detect by talking to witnesses and examining other evidence led us to believe that that's the time frame. There are a lot of indicators. Sorry, I know I didn't really answer your question and talked in a big circle. You must love that. But without, I can't really give you the exact, here's how we did it and here's exactly what led us to there, because that's still something that's very important to keep confidential at this point. Hopefully one day we'll be able to tell you the whole story about how we determined it. But we'll put it this way, we can't find any cooperating witnesses who are going to tell us that they've seen her after them, that we can substantiate that, right?
Has there been new evidence that's been introduced and verified as of recently, like in the last couple of weeks, that changed this case?
Yes. In the last week to 10 days, some evidence has come to light, again, with the significant help of the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. They're actually an amazing resource for law enforcement. They gave us an insight into this case that I don't think we would have probably been able to come up with on our own because of all their resources. And we gave them a bunch of evidence and they turned it around and gave us the same evidence back, but told us maybe look at it from this angle, or maybe when you talk to this person, talk about this. But those kinds of very slight changes to the tack that the homicide team was taking was able to create this development.
How close does HPD believe they are to finding remains, and where are they looking?
I wish I had a better answer for you. We are conducting a search of the home today and probably into tomorrow. If we're unable to locate remains there, then a big part of what we're asking for is people who have seen the Kaluas between August and September. And I know that's a brand new time frame for people to even consider, right? They may know these folks, they may have seen, I saw them a couple weeks before the daughter went missing. Well, we need to make sure and let them know now that the daughter was dead from the middle of August to September. So if you saw them in that time frame, we really are very interested in talking to you and hearing what you have to say that could lead us to that type of a discovery. Ma'am?
Do you have any possible motive? We know that they were facing possible bankruptcy, the wife, and then the husband had declared bankruptcy. Any of these things might have led you to?
I wasn't aware of the bankruptcy motive. I mean,
I don't know if that's
Lieutenant Tamus and her
motive.
team probably have all kinds of additional information besides what I know, but I wasn't aware of the financial motive. But at this point, again, because of the way the judicial system is structured, and because once the suspects are charged, which they are in this case, once they're served a warrant, we're prohibited from going in and talking to them without their attorney being present. So again, once they're court-appointed attorneys, or they hire their own attorney and they want to share information with us, let's go. Let's bring them in and talk to them if we can. But at this point, we're kind of in a window where we can't really talk to them about things.
Were they ever prevented from leaving the state?
No, not to my knowledge.
And just to double check, it's only been 2 arrests and any possibility of future arrests?
2 arrests is what we have. That's what we did this morning, right? Between 7 and 7:30 this morning, we arrested Isaac at work in Pearl Harbor, and we arrested Lehua at home in Waimanalo. And those are the only arrests that we've made. And at this point, those are the only suspects that we have.
There were other children in the Kalua home. Can you talk about what happened to them, and are they biological children, adopted children?
Sure. So it's my understanding that CWS, the Child Welfare Service, placed children in the home in the past. At some point, fairly recently, within the last year or two, at least Ariel was legally adopted by the Kaluas. And at that point, in speaking with CWS about their involvement and what their process is, because I learned a lot about CWS in this process. One of the things I learned was that once adoptions are completed, the CWS involvement in the case kind of scales way back. So they're not conducting the same level of checks or things like that that they would prior to an adoption. As far as the other children, Ariel's sisters, we know that they are in CWS custody and they're safe at this time. And CWS was apprised a few hours ago of the circumstances that we've shared with you now. So we're hopeful that they'll take whatever measures are necessary to continue to protect these children.
How many sisters are there?
How many sisters does she have?
Yeah, that are in, I'm sorry?
A total of
4, and they're all in CWS
not
custody?
all of them.
Okay. So how many sisters are in CWS custody?
I think we're gonna refer you to contact CWS with those specific questions.
Did HPD find any signs of abuse prior to all of this with any of the siblings, including Ariel?
So that's, again, very much part of our ongoing investigation, and that's part of why we would like to talk to people who have seen Ariel or her sister, and I didn't misspeak, from 2019 up through August of 2021. If people know Ariel and her sisters and interacted with them, then we want to hear from them too, because those are the same kind of questions that we're asking now. We don't have really solid answers to those questions yet, but we are looking for the public's help in helping us to answer those questions as well.
Sorry, can you
Yeah.
repeat the time frame again of when she would have been killed and what time frame you're asking for people to
Sure.
contact police?
So we are looking for people who interacted with Ariel and her sisters between 2019 and August of 2021 to contact us for that kind of background information that you're talking about. And we believe Ariel was killed by her adopted parents in August of 2021. And then approximately 4 weeks later is when we received the missing persons report in September 13th.
And you also want people who saw the Kaluas between August 2021 and September 2021 to contact.
Very much so, and that's primarily because we don't know where Ariel's remains are, or at least we haven't found them yet. And anybody who, again, not to beat this particular tangent again, but people who may have seen them and just thought, oh, that's before the time element. By talking about this time element, and specifically we're looking for witnesses from August to September, we're hopeful that people will come forward and tell us things that might lead us to help in that area of the investigation.
This probably would be the best question for the FBI, but I just wanted to learn more about the FBI's involvement when you guys were fully involved and what has happened since.
As I mentioned, I'll defer all questions about this investigation to the Honolulu Police Department.
So we can say that the FBI has, as we said, was very instrumental in helping us basically crack the case, for lack of a better term, with the help of the Behavioral Analysis Unit. At the very beginning of the investigation, the FBI and a lot of federal and local and state law enforcement agencies and members and people just showed up to help us search when we were looking for a missing person. They were very much active at that stage. And then as the investigation progressed and we needed technical assistance, we needed help with evidence or analyzing evidence a certain way that we don't have the capability, they were always right there a phone call away and eager and willing to help at a moment's notice.
What kind of information were the siblings able to provide?
So that's something that we're not really ready to discuss at this point. Again, hopefully one day when the whole story is out there, we can talk about that a little bit more. But at this point, that's an area of investigation we can't really talk about. Sorry.
Was there any reevaluation as to issuing a Miley alert, whether or not that should have been done?
No, so I don't think, at least based on the initial missing persons report or based on the information that the homicide detail developed, and as Lieutenant Tama said, and the focus behind the scenes at least started to shift from a missing persons investigation into something that turned out to be a lot more sinister. I don't think there was ever a time during that period, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where we suspected that Ariel had been abducted. And that's one of the key kind of elements that would trigger the Miley alert. Is that fair? Okay. The other thing I wanted to kind of pause and talk with you a little bit about, and it might give you some insight into like how we work and maybe answer another question that you may or may not want to ask. But we all know that in order for it to be effective at preventing and solving crime, police departments have to have the trust of the community that it serves. It's also no secret that the news media and certainly certain community groups have been very forthcoming with criticism about our efforts or lack of efforts, as the case may have been. And there have been some headlines in the past month that it's been frustrating from our side to read. So things such as, and I understand that they're completely factual and they're intended in a certain way. I just want to give you some insight into how we operate, right? So for example, there's 3 examples. These are headlines that I was able to Google search yesterday or today. A family of missing 6-year-olds say not enough is known about her disappearance nearly a month later. Missing girls' loved ones say their requests to authorities for updates have been ignored. and missing Waimanalo girl not forgotten on her 7th birthday. So Ariel's 7th birthday was this past weekend. So as a community member, right, and we all are, I understand the frustration. Unfortunately, sometimes in order to solve a case, especially a case like this one, where we're given one public story that we pretty quickly learn is not the case, certain details of the investigation cannot be shared as freely as we would like. And because of the need for secrecy, it could very well look from outside like Ariel had been forgotten, or that not enough resources were being devoted to finding out what happened to this poor little girl. So I'm here to tell you today that nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, even us prematurely, had we revealed in the last day or two that instead of investigating missing persons, we were investigating a murder, that may have interrupted the flow or prevented the progress that we were very recently able to make that led us to crack the case. So it frustrates us as well that a lot of times, we face scrutiny and we face headlines that make it look like we're not doing anything, or that we've forgotten, or we're not talking to anyone. And I know that's a trust factor, but I'm here to tell you again, hundreds and thousands of hours have gone into this case, and poor Lieutenant Davis and her crew have not slept in days. But we're to the point now, again, where we wanted to just share with you, we are working on things, right? And as the case continues to develop and continues to unfold, when more things come up, if we can share them with you, if we're past the point in the investigation where we need those things to, do other parts of the investigation, then by all means, we're absolutely willing to talk about them as we become available to do so.
So did the FBI offer services in the beginning that maybe didn't utilize initially?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the FBI did exactly what we asked them to do, which was show up and help us look, right? The FBI, and it's kind of a delicate balance, because the FBI has a lot of very powerful investigative tools that when utilized in the federal spectrum in a federal court, they have the authority and the power to do those things. But in this kind of a case where we're looking at a state court prosecution, as a department, we have to be careful what we ask them to do on our behalf. Because if we ask them to use some of those really fancy gadgets they have in the truck down in Waimanalo to help us solve things, and then it turns out that under state law we can't use that, or we needed a warrant to use that, where under the federal system they didn't, then anything we found out as a result would be out of luck, and it's nothing that we could use in court. So we were very careful from the beginning to talk to the FBI and the rest of our federal partners and tell them, you want to help, by all means, come out, help us look through the bushes, help us with the manhunt, help us with the search. But as far as any advanced kind of technical advice that may or may not fall under the guise of what we can do under our state authority, hold off until we're ready with our investigation to ask you for those things. So I think we managed that relationship very well.
And when did it change to murder investigation? Technically, I'm not understanding.
Technically, it actually turned into the murder investigation probably at the end of last week.
Yeah, that's fair. That's when we had some big developments.
And I guess just to reiterate, how are you so sure that we're looking at a murder and no longer missing person?
Again, that's something that we definitely can talk about in the coming weeks as more information becomes available, but it's not something that we're ready to talk about just yet. Plus, please remember, even as we speak, right, we have teams of dozens of people who are combing through what we believe to be a crime scene looking for evidence. So I don't have any idea what they found or what the analysis of what they found is going to reveal, and those are all things that as they come up and we're able to talk about them, we can. But at this point, I'm sorry, I can't really share that with you.
Yeah. And Attorney William Harrison told us initially that they were very cooperative, opened their home to an investigation by police the very day they reported it. Is that true?
So they investigated, yeah, go ahead.
So to answer that question, they were in the beginning, the very first day, several days or weeks following that. But then at some point, they weren't. And we needed to address that as well. But yeah, that was, initially they were. They did open their homes initially to us, provided us statements, but then as the weeks passed, there was no call back to us.
And you said those statements were false?
The very first statement on September 13th was false.
From both parents?
I can just tell you what was reported at this time.
What
was initially reported was that she had left her home in the middle of the night, and when they woke up, they didn't see her, and they thought she had either walked away.
And that was from their surveillance surveillance video or something?
That was just what they reported, that's all I can say at this time.
And when you were talking about surveillance, is that your HPD surveillance?
We have recovered multiple surveillances from whether it be neighbors, streets, businesses, from multiple locations.
Can you talk about how difficult it is to know that a young child in our community is allegedly murdered by her parents?
It's very difficult. I think it affects every one of us in the Honolulu Police Department. I think it affects everyone in the public, but at the same time, we have the heavy burden of responsibility of trying to find out what happened. So we can't cloud the lines, we have to do the right thing to bring justice. So it is very difficult, and many of us take it home, and our families have to be supportive of us, so yes, it is very difficult.
And sorry, one more note on that, thank you. I did speak with CWS today, and they asked me to share with you that if there are members of the community who suspect child abuse or neglect, either in their family members or neighbors or people that they work with, that they're encouraged to call a statewide hotline, and this is a hotline that CWS has set up for long-standing. It's staffed 24/7, and the child abuse and neglect statewide hotline number is 1-888-380-3088. So CWS did ask us to pass that along if the opportunity arose. Right?
I'm sorry, 888?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. It's on my post-it. There we go. 1-888-380-3088. And that's the Hawaii Child Abuse and Neglect statewide hotline. Okay? Thank you guys very much. We look forward to sharing more information with you as it becomes available.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, there we go. I don't know what happened there. It just kind of froze out, maybe. The nerve of CPS, right? Please make sure you call CWS if you notice any abuse. Meanwhile, they put her in the home with these monsters, these felons, and ignored every abuse claim from the preschool teacher, from Melanie over the years, from the family who took the video of her limping in, and they have the nerve to ask people to call and report abuse. I mean, yes, please see something, say something, but to put that out in this press conference with these with this case that they so clearly failed on, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. Like, disgusting. These workers are ridiculous. I can't. Like, please, yes, call Sean and let him know that there's something bad going on because his workers failed everyone. So what were the key points? We heard that Ryan is not under arrest yet. So that's interesting, because at first this afternoon we were hearing that they were still looking for him. So perhaps they just wanted to interview him. Is that a thing? And they're looking for any information from 2019 until August of 2021, which means they are suspecting long-term abuse of some sort, so that they can get information about that. And any information about the Kalua's whereabouts from August through September could lead to the discovery of her remains if they don't find her on this property. So any neighbors in that area, please check your video camera footage. Anyone on the streets going up and down through that area, check your footage from August, I would say August 14th, when Natasha said that she's seen her, through maybe even a little bit earlier in August. I would just start at the 1st maybe, because we don't know an exact date in August. Check your footage for their vehicles driving past or anything that might look fishy, because, you know, it could lead to the discovery of her remains if they don't find it on the property. The other thing that stood out, so they're not sure if the bag of toys belonged to her, but the photo album did belong to her. They did confirm that there was nothing nefarious in the photos related to the crime other than it was her. So that's comforting to know, because it had been speculated by one of the reporters that the photos may have been of child trafficking photos. So we are glad to find out that that's not the case. However, with them suspecting abuse from 2019, like that's devastating. And then what else stuck out to me was he said about nobody has come forward with information that will cooperate in the investigation from mid-August through September, which means that the adoptive family is still not helping in this investigation. I think we need to start rallying outside of this adoptive family's home in order to get them to speak up. You know, that might be something that needs to happen, because they sat back and watched all of this and said nothing. And, you know, it's time now. We all know now. You know, there are how many people who stuck up for the Kaluas over this past 2 months. How many people came to their defense. You never really know somebody. So now that you know that your friends murdered their child, their adoptive child, will you speak up now about the things that you've seen that you maybe weren't too sure about? Something that might have caught you as a red flag. You know, did you ever notice that she had a bruise or something going on and they had some type of random excuse for it? Stuff like that, little things. You know, he said you never know how important the detail that you hold might be. You never know. So if you're a friend of the Kaluas and you haven't spoke up to this point, it's okay. You still have time to do the right thing. The reward money is still actively out there. No one will come after you if you're one of their friends. We understand. You know, you don't really know what's going on until something really hits you in the face. People like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So if you know something, please speak up now. Even the littlest detail. Come forward and tell what you know, so that we can get these babies into a safe environment and we can get justice for Ariel. You know, there has to be church members. You know, they went to church. Sunny plays concerts. They have parties regularly at their home. If you've attended something like that and something seemed off, please call into the tip line and tell what you know. She was adopted. She was adopted January 26th of this year, Tammy. Is Isaac a preacher or pastor? I know he is ordained. I'm not sure if he actively has a church, but he is ordained. Did they check any dump sites thoroughly? Yes. So they did search the Waimanalo dump towards the beginning of the case. Unfortunately, you heard the lady say that they had people who were hindering the investigation by presenting false evidence. And, you know, that's devastating to hear. I know people are trying to help whenever they are calling police to the scene and turning things in. However, you know, sometimes we have to let police do their job to a point. So it sounded like, though, that they were being led astray, perhaps unintentionally. I'm not sure. But now we know that they are in custody. Perhaps we can get somebody to come forward. You know, we know that Tasha has come out publicly on Instagram and has said that she last seen Ariel on August 14th. Somebody else said it was August 16th, so there was a mix-up in the stories. It's between those 2 days. We're not entirely sure, but she has said August 14th. And so, you know, was that the last day that Ariel was alive? Was she with her on her last day? What did she witness that day? Is she cooperating with police? Are her and Nedrick cooperating? We know that Crystal and Kalani cussed at police to leave their home and wouldn't cooperate. So there's a lot that goes into this. This adoptive family needs to speak up. Their friends need to speak up. Somebody knows something. Neighbors, everybody, look at your cameras. It's very important. You know, any businesses need to look at your cameras. Maybe you've seen something and you don't even realize it. It's devastating to know that she's not with us, but at the same time, it's almost a sigh of release because there are so many cases that never get resolved. You look at Summer Wells' case, they are on month, let's see, I believe they're going on month 5 now. And they still have no idea where she is. You look at Orrin and Orson West, they are on month 10 going on 11. And they have no idea. And those parents are all still walking free. And so, in a way, I'm glad that they were arrested and that this case hopefully will come to a close soon. I pray that they find her quickly and that we can get her laid to rest so that this family can grieve and be at peace. You know, but we have a whole another battle to fight coming up. This family has a whole battle against the CWS system. There are 3 siblings still in state custody. They need you guys' help. They need the community to still rally behind them. You know, we really need to consider doing rallies, I believe, outside of the adoptive families' homes until they start to speak up. This is no different than Brian Laundrie. This is no different. How many people stood outside of his home and rallied because his parents would not speak up. We need that for Ariel. We need those type of soldiers for Ariel. You know, where's Megaphone Lady when you need her? So thank you guys for watching the stream with me. It was nice to be able to kind of talk as a group during the stream. It's devastating also that people would not allow police to search, etc., I would throw myself in front of a bus to protect a child, period. Yeah, exactly. You know, and the worst part about it is they were saying stuff like, oh, well, they're innocent. You know, that's my Ohana. Like, how dare you talk about them like that? And then they were refusing to cooperate with police. And it's like, you know, Ariel's supposed to be your Ohana as well. She was supposed to be your baby, your niece, your cousin, your, you know, whatever. Protect her. Be there for her. I know, Christina, that was very frustrating to hear him mention that whenever they are literally, they failed her so much. They failed her in every aspect. There was not one thing that CWS did right in this case since the beginning. It's disturbing. Sheila Gage, I am guessing that the older sister finally felt safe enough to come forward. During my live stream the other day, I mentioned that there was accusations that she admitted to SA going on in the home. I am guessing that admission led to other things, obviously. I mean, figure that stream was just 2 or 3 days ago that somebody reached out to me and gave me that information. And, you know, I am guessing that that's what led to this. I honestly think that if that is what led to this, they need to give her the reward money. You know, if she's the one who spoke up and said, listen, they killed my sister, then why doesn't she get the reward money? That should be a thing. I'm not sure if they have to be fully convicted before that happens, but in my opinion, if she spoke up and was brave enough to do this, then she deserves that reward money. I believe in my heart CWS will be uncovered as the investigation goes on. I agree, Christina. I know that this family is not going to stop until they get retribution for what happened. And nothing will bring Ariel back. Let's not be mistaken. Absolutely nothing will bring her back. However, this family is going to work to make sure this never happens again. This community that we have created, Sleuth Mom and our Facebook group, we are going to work to make sure that this never happens to another child. I don't care if we have to fight. I don't care if I have to fly to Hawaii. You know, I will rally myself outside of there. Like, we need these things to change. It has to happen. We have to make noise. And even though they arrested them, we can't back down. We can't let this get swept away. We can't forget the fact that CWS failed her. Not only did they fail her, but they are directly responsible for her murder. They placed her in the home of violent felons with a violent criminal history, and now she is dead. Not only is she dead, but her sister may have been sexually abused. And I believe that CWS needs to be held accountable for that. Laws in Hawaii and worldwide, nationwide, need to change. We need people to be following up with these children after adoption. Until they're 18 years old, I believe. Kerwin, if you rewind, you should be able to watch the whole press conference. I did have it on here. So you should be able to rewind. Yes, I do have a Facebook page /group. Let me get you the link. 1 second. We have the Where is Isabella Ariel Sellers Facebook group that is dedicated to her. And then I myself have a Facebook page. It's called Sleuth Mom. And the link for that is in my bio of the YouTube page here. And that is dedicated to all missing children, not just Ariel. Here is the Facebook group that is dedicated to Ariel. I'm not going to stop following this case, regardless if they are arrested. We will follow this all the way through justice. We will follow this through the children getting out of their custody officially. I would love to see the adoption overturned so that her name is officially Ariel Sellers again. She should not be buried as Isabella Kalua. She should not have her death certificate say their adoptive slave name. I can't even fathom the things that were happening to these children. And then they had the nerve to go and try to fight for custody back of the other kids. They had the nerve to go and try to fight to adopt this youngest child. Like, you disgusting pigs. Disgusting. It's disturbing how they wanted to still pretend like they were this big, happy family. And, you know, I partially believe that they wanted custody of the children back. They were terrified that they were going to speak up. They were terrified. So the police didn't confirm, Kerwin, that it was her that spoke up. They didn't confirm either way. They said that the information can't be revealed at this time. There are other details that I currently know. I'm sorry that you guys can hear my daughter's nighttime stuff going off in the background. There are other details that I know that I'm waiting until the family is comfortable for them to be released. As far as I know, she is still not found. Hold on, I'm getting messages, so let me check. Sorry, I just need to read through these real quick, just in case it's something. Okay, so there is going to be a candlelight vigil for Ariel. Let me find out where it's going to be. They're going to do it tonight at 6 p.m. it sounds like. Let me find out where it's going to be. I'm going to guess Puha Street, but I'm not sure if they are able to get there yet. The family is still there, so they would be asking for you guys to bring supplies with you. There is parking across the street, and the sidewalk across the street is open from the residence. So they're going to be doing a candlelight vigil tonight at 6 p.m. across from the residence at Puha Street. They said worst case scenario, if you can't drive there, you can meet at Jack's and march down to the area. So this is developing now. They're trying to figure this out. So look out for the official post on Facebook. I'll post it. But it sounds like there will be a candlelight vigil tonight. You know, it's so ironic that we have been doing all of these things at this residence on Puha Street, and it feels almost as if she was leading people there. Okay, hold on one second. Let me check. I got other messages coming in. Hold on one second. Okay, the alternate meeting place is Jack's, where they have been meeting for a lot of the, with a C, JACKS. Yes, everybody has been getting drawn to this location the whole time. So if she is there, I feel like she's been pulling us to her in a way. You know, and I'm glad that we did the birthday celebration at the fence and stuff like that. And I'm really praying and hoping that this is over today or tomorrow. I really hope that she is found. You know, they put up the tent very quickly as soon as they started digging, and somebody who was on the scene said that items were being pulled from the ground. They could visually see the items coming out, and then that's whenever they put the surrounding walls up. So I'm not sure if they just buried pieces of evidence or what it was, but somebody had said that it was from the lawyer to the social worker who was in the case to the adoptive parents equals in cahoots. Yes, I agree. Everyone needs held accountable. Everybody. All of the people, from the top to the bottom. All of them. No, there's no way the parents did it alone. I'm honestly shocked that he said that they were the only two suspects. Like, I am very shocked. Because I really thought that there was going to be more people. Hey, God bless you guys who just donated. The GoFundMe is up to $2,957 now. Thank you, Beverly Dawkins and Erica Ham, Nicole Simpson. You know, this family really appreciates everyone who's able to donate. You know, we had a $500 anonymous donation yesterday. Marnie Golette, anonymous, a whole bunch of anonymous donations. And, you know, even if it's just a $5 donation, it makes a big difference. I know that the family is going to be looking into selling bracelets that say Ariel's Army. They're also going to be looking into selling face masks and different things to help support this. He did say they were gathering evidence, so it'll come out. Exactly. Yes, and it's still very early in the investigation. They are looking for a whole period of time that needs to be investigated still. Does anyone have the video where the psychic gave insight? I don't, Nisi. I don't really watch psychics. Let me show you guys the pictures, though, of where they're digging. Somebody had actually said, is the Facebook group still active? Yes, the Facebook group is still very active. My phone has been blowing up all day today because of how active it's been. Here is the link for it. If you'd like to join, we would love to have you. Again, we're going to continue to follow this case through the investigation, all the way down to getting laws changed. You know, I would love to see Ariel's law. We have already reached out to different senators. The state attorney general has been contacted. There's so many people. So many people. Yes, let me get you the GoFundMe link. Sorry, that's what I was getting ready to do, and then I got sidetracked. I am like so bad at staying on task. I'm very ADD. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this. Look, a squirrel. Oh, look, I'm going to do this. No, look, a comment. Do you have pictures of the fresh dirt? I do. So let me pull this up. So in the beginning of the case, there was somebody who flew their drone overhead. And whenever they did, they noticed that the dirt in certain spots looked freshly dug. And so they immediately sent it in as a tip. This was during one of the protests. You can kind of see the protesters on the sidewalk. Whenever I switch my screen, I guess would help. So this area is where they are currently digging. Whoops, wrong button. And whenever this person flew their drone over during one of the rallies, they were concerned because the area looked like it was freshly dug. And so they sent these tips into the police very early on. This drone was flown, I want to say it was October 10th. Let me look at the calendar real quick. Okay, so no, it must have been October 9th. There must have been a rally of some sort. And by October 11th, I know for a fact it was called into HPD. So this happened very early on in the case. She had only been missing for a couple weeks at the time whenever the drone was flown over and somebody raised up the red flag saying, hey, there's fresh dirt there. It looks like they may have been digging it sometime. And so that raised the concerns. These are the drone footages from today, just showing the area and all the different police that were in the area. We never did see news choppers fly over, which is kind of sad. You would think that this would be a case worthy of the news choppers flying up. Is that where they had their barbecue? Yes. They were constantly having their barbecue in underneath the porch right there. Like where the garage and stuff is. Let me pull up. Whoa. Now, this person who is flying the drone is not like a professional drone pilot. It's just somebody who has a drone with a camera on. This house is the Kaluas right here. Whoa. Crazy angle. So this is the Kaluas home. And this is where the fresh dirt was and where they eventually put the tent up. It wasn't up at the time of this drone flying. They did eventually put it up right in this area, however. Okay, let me get you. This is the Facebook group again for the person who is asking. If I find her there, I really hope she's not where the barbecue is. Oh, I know, that would be so disturbing. But it would almost make sense in a way because they would want to be hiding the spot. Again, this is the FBI vehicles. You can see the police blocking off the area is what she's trying to show. They were very careful not to let cars that were not belonging in and out of the scene today. They pushed the crowds way back, so that's why it took me a little bit of time earlier to bring you guys any type of information because she was having trouble getting to the scene, so she went back and got her drone. And it's people like this, it's boots on the ground like this that have contributed to keeping this case going. Without information, I have nothing to broadcast. So it's people like this who have kept this going. I know people have been giving me a lot of credit for, helping to spread her name and stuff, but I couldn't have ever done any of this without this local community who has rallied behind me trying to do this and helped share information and share footage share pictures, share stories. All of the information that I've gotten has come from locals. Even down to the news reporter that talked to me, the police officer who confided in me, who wasn't on the case. He was just in the local police department hearing things and, was kind of giving information. And, all of that led to this. The biological family who has done interview after interview with me, who has been in daily contact with me. I couldn't have done any of this awareness that I've tried to spread without them. And, I can report on things that the regular news media can't. They will not report on speculation. They won't. And so where I can take things that are being said and spin them in an opinionated, unfactual speculation type of way, they don't have the liberty to do that as much, unless it's about politics, which they seem to have no problem spinning unfactual information about. But, it's just, I couldn't have done any of this without you guys. I really couldn't have. So I appreciate everybody who has helped out with this case and who has, helped to spread awareness for her. Whenever I have other cases that I haven't been able to cover as in detail, it's because the families aren't coming forward. It makes it harder. A lot of people were asking about this video earlier too. This is her limping in the parking lot on her way to court with CWS, this organization who is supposed to protect her. You can see she's obviously hurt, walking into court with the CWS workers, but we're supposed to call them whenever we suspect abuse so that they can ignore it whenever it's their friends or whenever it doesn't suit their needs to remove the children who need removed. It's upsetting. And at this point, she already was losing weight. She already had her hair butchered. She had beautiful long hair before all of this. And, this family has gone out of their way to try to make sure that awareness was spread. They have done everything they could to keep her face in the news, and everything they could to make sure that she wasn't forgotten.
Search for 6-year-old Isabella Ariel.
And despite their flaws, despite the things that they may have done wrong in the past, they have fought for her every step of the way.
As we wait for some of the procession to pass by,
her
how did you
mom
hear
has
about this
been
event?
fighting
Because
for
it
her.
is our understanding that this was not organized by Isabella's biological family.
Correct. It was on Instagram, media, Facebook. So we just came.
It's just different things. And then, this is, somebody asked me if I had this video earlier. Apparently I still do. So I screen recorded it. He has since removed this from his YouTube channel, this video. And were they involved? I have no idea if they were involved or not, but they certainly didn't speak up to help her. Regardless of what else they did, they certainly didn't speak up to help her. It's just too much. And I'm sure this is going to all hit me tonight. I've been trying to hold it together and be strong all day today because, the family needs time to not have to answer questions. They've been struggling with this all day, listening to everything come out all day. And I figured if I was able to go live and bring you guys the news, that it would help ease the questions that were getting text to them a little bit. And so, we have to be strong for them right now. Yes, the internet is forever. Watch the video on the Facebook page that shows the lawyer they are up against Sleuth Mom. You talking about the lawyer of Bill Harrison? Everything is eternal on the internet. And that's why it's very important. Educate your children. Once it's out there, it's never coming back. People are so quick to screen record and screenshot and save information that once you put it out there, it's just there. Yeah, I'm exhausted and I'm no one. I can't imagine the family. Exactly, Christina. I feel the same way. You know, my heart hurts so bad right now and I'm devastated for them. Hold on one second. My daughter has to go to the bathroom. Exactly. I couldn't imagine, you know, being these parents right now. I really couldn't. You know, okay, so here's the thing. We know that they have drug issues. Everybody knows that they are struggling. They have been trying to get clean throughout this adventure while going on this roller coaster of emotions because they feel like they failed. So every time that there's this roller coaster, they are struggling. And so beating them up won't help anything. It won't help them get clean. It won't help solve their issues. All we can do is be there for them and pray that what happened with her changes their lives for the better. You know, they will probably never have custody of their other children again. They know that. But they're hoping that Grandma Julie can get custody. And she lives on another island. But, you know, I would like to think that maybe in the future they can get clean and at least be able to visit their daughter someday. Who was the one person who disliked the video? Tim, I'm going to assume it was Tasha. I have been getting on her case all day today because of statements she has made through this investigation. She is probably watching the live stream. I do have her blocked from commenting. So the only power she has is that little tiny dislike button. But you know what? It doesn't even matter because in the world of YouTube, the dislike button is the same as the like button. It's still an interaction. So she still gave my video an interaction, which helps promote it. Was checking to see it and it added me. Yeah, or CPS workers. That could also be the case. We know that Shawnee Boy watches. We know that, you know, the social worker watches. It's just, this makes that birthday video that I did yesterday that much more sad in a way. I don't think I could watch that at this point without literally bawling because of everything. Yes, strong and positive support instead of put downs. It would be very helpful to the biological parents. I agree. We need to be there and lift them up. Cutting people down in this situation helps no one. You know, it helps absolutely no one. We can help change their lives. We could help change these children's lives and the lives of so many if we put positive energy behind this. We need to change laws. We need to change the CPS guidelines. All of that needs positive energy and positive reinforcement from everyone. Everyone was so... Oh, Winslow, I accidentally, deleted your comment, I think. I was trying to click. That wasn't on purpose. If I did that, I'm not sure. Sorry. I pocket modded. You know, you look at her, she had this long, beautiful hair, this dark Hawaiian skin. You know, she was healthy. And then they destroyed her. Then we go to this. You know, it's just been devastating. Shut down CPS. Yes, foster war. I agree. Thank you, GK. You know, like I said, this case, if it wasn't for this biological family and this community sharing information and rallying behind me, I would have never been able to do any of this. I would have never been able to bring this all to awareness. It wouldn't happen without you guys. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to get off of here soon so I can go help put my daughter to sleep. She's listening to everything instead of laying down. Yeah, you couldn't even tell your daughter happy 33rd birthday today because it's a lot. You know, it's a lot of emotions that go into this. You know, everybody has come so attached to her. And then we look at these monsters and their friends who have come out and stood behind them through all of this and have been saying how great people they are and how they would never do this. It just goes to show you never know who you're talking to. You never know what type of person someone really is. You know, we can't see people's hearts, but God can. And God knew the darkness that was inside of these people despite the light that they tried to show. You know how whenever you look at people and you just know, like you just get that feeling in the pit of your stomach. That's what I've got since the beginning of this case. Every time that I've looked at them, just that feeling of like, oh, this isn't going to be good. But you know, you stay hopeful. You stay wanting to believe that you could be wrong. Stay wanting to believe that she could still be out there. And so it's devastating sometimes whenever you're right. You know, this is her in this back corner. And like all these people, look at this family. All these people have known her and been with her at parties and been around her. And they all sat there and watched her decline. You know, one of you guys, please come forward and speak up. Please, you know, you didn't do it all this time. Please do it now. You know, Nedrick, if you're really not involved, if you really are innocent in all of this, please. You know, you guys were one of the last people to see her. If what Tasha said is true, that was mid-August. That's exactly when she went missing whenever she was murdered, according to police. Where is she? You know, it's just sad. But I'm going to close down, guys, because like I said, I got to get my kids to sleep. It's after 9 here and they're just little guys. So I followed this from day one and I said on day one, they'd done something to this baby. Yeah. Ohio gal. I tried to cover this from a standpoint of the what if they're innocent in the beginning. You never want to have the presumption of guilt right off the bat. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. The first couple videos that I made, you can kind of see that. And I showed all the sex offenders where they live, showed all of the different possibilities. And, you know, I am curious as to where they use the concrete machine. So I'm not entirely sure, Savage says. I think that's part of the investigation. That's why I didn't really bring it up too much. I know I did mention it in the comments in the group as well. That there was a concrete machine rented sometime. And that they believe that it might be linked to her disappearance, from what the family has told me. So I'm not entirely sure. I did hear that they laid concrete somewhere at the home. I'm not sure if that's being ripped up currently. Nobody has reported hearing jackhammers at this point. But that might be something that they do tomorrow. Who knows? Another $10 from Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. You know, every dollar counts, even if it's $5, guys. This is going to be a war against CPS for these children. And so it's really important that we still, even though she has been found, that we still continue to push this. Like I said, they are going to be doing different fundraisers, selling bracelets and things like that. That was something we were going to sit down and try to figure out and organize today. But obviously everything else is going on right now. So we are just kind of waiting to see what happens. So I'm going to close in prayer like I typically do, guys, because this family definitely needs our prayers right now. So thank you, Father, for bringing us all together and continuing to guide us to show your light onto this case, dear Lord. I praise you to know that Ariel is with you, Lord. I know you will keep and protect her the way that these people didn't. Please weigh heavy on the hearts of their family members, Lord, who have this information, that they come forward. Be with HPD as they continue to investigate this case. And be with this biological family, Lord. They need you. They need you to touch their hearts and to calm their souls, dear Lord, as they're dealing with all the trauma of this case. Thank you for all that you do and continue to do, Lord. You've really been moving in the last couple days, and we have been able to feel it. You know, Jolie and I have talked multiple times about how we can feel your presence moving, and now all of this unfolded today. So praise God that you are with us every step of the way. Thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Take care of you, Sleuth Mom. I had to call my sister today to take my mind away from a little bit of this. Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow you guys probably won't hear from me very much. I will probably take a down day just to get through everything. Because like I said, you know, even though I'm not related to her, I've been so engrossed in her case because she matters. She matters to me. And it all needs to come to light. All right, guys, have a good night.